Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And that must mean that I am Professor Robert E. G. Black, and this is the Groundhog Day Project.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
It's a thing where the same day keeps happening.
Time.
I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd.
The last revision is what counts, apparently.
We're in minute 88 of Groundhog Day. We're at the banquet, the end of the day, on the final iteration of Groundhog Day that we will see in the film. Phil doesn't know it yet, but the loop is finished with him. Or maybe it makes the decision later. I don't know when it makes the decision. And really, there's no decision being made. It just is. This minute we get, of course, nice shot of the drummer stopping the... Is that a cymbal or a hi-hat? I don't know what's what in drums. He stops the thing and then immediately starts drumming again. He's going for like a silent beat and whatever you call that. Shot of the people playing the, what are they playing? A saxophone and a... Is that a bass? A cello? A bass? I think it's a bass. The other people in the band. They aren't characters. They don't have names, but we get a couple nice shots of them. They could put in their reel if they were musicians for film stuff often. What else do we get in this minute? Oh, Rita and... Okay, so Phil is starting with the slow version. Nice and romantic version of 18th Variation of a Theme on Paganini by Rachmaninoff.
I should try to get that title right at least in one episode. It is the 18th variation from Rhapsody on a Theme of Paganini by Rachmaninoff.
And then the crowd is not really, they're not dancing to that. What's that line in Mr. Holland's Opus? Like it, but can't dance to it. For dialogue in this minute, we get to eventually, no, not to the dialogue. We're not in the dialogue. Fuck that. Slow down. Back up, people. Back up me. Look at the dancing in this minute. First of all, Debbie in the background. Crazy as fuck. She is flailing. She's going through something. She just got married. After having second thoughts about it, she is excited for the future and for her life. She's having a great fucking time. Then you get more dancing. And I would point out, of course, I have no idea where Nancy and Larry went. Where'd they go? Are they just at the back? I don't know. See, I say this like I'm looking at the screen and I'm trying to find them, but I'm just in my head thinking of the shots. I'm like, no, I think they just kind of disappeared. Once we're on the close-ups of Mary and Rita, we don't need Nancy and Larry to be here. They're gone. Probably not even there for filming for a lot of these close-ups. I don't know what the schedule was like for filming the banquet, but I'm guessing this is more than just one day of shooting. They had that aerial crane shot. They have the whole sequence of music playing, so they got to time that right so they can get all the coverage of the different angles they need. And then you got dialogue while Rita and Phil are dancing coming up, starting at the end of this minute. There's a lot of stuff going on, then the auction, so this probably took a few days to film with all the setups they'd have to do. So, as the music is coming to an end, or is almost over, Rita and Mary are dancing like a couple of dorks. Mary is doing a mild approximation of, what is that dance? It's a surfing dance from the 1960s, or the 50s.
1964, Bobby Freeman, Come On and Swim, and SWIM. I'm not sure when the dance was invented, but both those songs come out in 64 and they're about the dance. The dance is the swim.
One hand in, the other hand in. One hand in, the other hand in. But she's doing it not in big moves, but little tiny ones, which make it look even dorkier. And then Rita is doing this silly thing where she closes her eyes and she's snapping her fingers, one hand, then the other hand, the other hand. And they just look like a couple of fools. But fortunately for them, it's a brief shot and we can pretend that maybe they're much better at this kind of stuff when they're not being watched by a camera on a film set. It's not like anyone was going to choreograph this. They're just dance. What's my motivation? I don't know, look like a dork. And action. Nailed it. Finally, Mary has lines. She starts their conversation. This does not pass the Bechdel test because they're talking about a man. Isn't he good? He's great. He's my student. I'm so proud. Oh no, she says I'm so proud to him. He's my student. Ooh, okay. I hear ya. Half the people listening are like, what is she talking about? Did he go get piano lessons today? Wasn't she confused by the fact that he's really good at this? In answer to the first question, Yes, probably. Well, had to be, otherwise she wouldn't even have this line at all, and he certainly couldn't have gotten this gig. And the answer to question 2 is no, she wasn't confused, because my headcanon, and it's been like this for a while now, is that the only way this line really makes sense, and really it's the polite thing for Phil to do, is today, in between his other errands, he went to Mary's house, had his final piano lesson, and probably before that lesson even started, convinced her he was in a time loop, proved it, knew stuff about her or whatever, and so she knows that she has been teaching him more than today. She can't really remember all those lessons, but she knows they happened. Because then this makes sense. He's my student. I'm so proud. You wouldn't be proud of your student that you only taught today and is basically a professional musician up there, like playing with a band of people who play all the time. You would assume, yeah, he's not my student. He's just some guy that showed up at my house today and wanted to play on my piano. He didn't need to practice at her house today. There's a piano in the Cherry Street Inn. We see it every time Phil's in the dining room. It is in the corner. If you're facing the buffet, it's to the left. It's in the corner when he walks into the room. The movie actually should have included a shot of him playing at the Cherry Street. It actually would have been kind of nice if we see Mrs. Lancaster one more time, listening as Phil plays over breakfast. So Phil didn't have to go to Mary's house at all. He's got a piano available. So if Phil went to Mary's house, it's because he wanted some last-minute advice, last-minute instruction, and he wanted her to be able to be proud. That is a kind move on his part, is to let her have pride in her teaching ability. And so he tells her, I've been coming to you for blah, 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 however many weeks, however many months, days. I don't know how long it's been, and I'm not going to guess. And I don't think the actual number matters, but he would tell her, probably he would be specific. I've been coming here every day for 3 months or a year. I don't know how long. And she'd be like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, here's the thing. Your normal student, Sue, and he'd start talking about Sue, and he'd tell Mary about her husband, because we see the wedding photo. Is Mary's husband at this party? I don't know. I don't think so. Is he dead? Does Phil know stuff about him? Would that get her attention and give her like an emotional trigger where she pays attention to what he has to say, and she understands that Phil is telling the truth? And then he's like, so you're the one who taught me how to play piano. I knew nothing. I made jokes about my father being a piano mover just so I'd have something to say. I made you wince like a crazy person out of an improv scene in Chicago because I was so bad when we started. But now, weeks or months or years or whatever into this, you've turned me into this guy who can play Rachmaninoff. And not only play Rachmaninoff, but alter Rachmaninoff to make it more jazzy and interesting and fun. You did this. So when she says, he's my student, I'm so proud, she means it, and it's true. She's not just bragging about a random guy who took one lesson. She knows. Which, if that headcanon is, accurate to the reality of the film, she might be the only person who knows. Phil doesn't explain himself to anyone. So if he did tell Mary about the time loop, she is the only person in the actual reality that exists later that Phil talks to about it. It's an interesting thing toward the end of the movie, actually. Does Phil tell Rita that he was in a time loop? Obviously, we saw him tell her before, but she doesn't remember that anymore. That didn't happen. That day was reset. Does Rita know there was a time loop? Does Phil tell her? Do they move to Punxsutawney? I don't think so. I think they go back to Pittsburgh. She's a producer, he's a weatherman, and he has a new outlook on life, and he appreciates the job for what it is, that he is helping people. He is helping people because being able to tell people the weather and predict what happens is useful as fuck because it saves lives. I'm recording this episode on July 10th. This past week, there's flooding in Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. Like 100 people died at the flooding in Texas. I don't know how many people were injured or missing or whatever in Oklahoma or New Mexico. We had flooding not that long ago in, was it North Carolina? We're going into hurricane season, so there's going to be serious flooding in Florida and probably Alabama and Georgia. All of the, I don't know. When we have accurate reporting ahead of time of weather patterns, we can predict when disasters might strike, weather disasters. We can predict just when it's going to be cold or when it's going to be hot and let people know. That makes people's days better. If you know what the weather's going to be like, you can dress for that weather. I'm at work right now in between classes. I guess it's technically a lunch break, but I'm wearing what I wear to teach most of the time, which is jeans that are in good condition, pretty new, nice. T-shirt. Today I'm wearing one with Cthulhu on it. And I have like a long hoodie, sweatery kind of thing that I wear over that. So if it's too hot outside, I can just remove that, tie it around my waist or hang it over my bag. If it is cold, I can hold that tight around me. I can put the hood up. I'm prepared for different weather. It's July in LA. It's actually surprisingly not that hot today, but could be. Summer in LA can be a lot sometimes. It'll be hotter next month, actually. Our summer, climate change has drifted our summer later. And we'll have hurricanes elsewhere in the country. Next month, going into, probably August into September, we'll have fire season around California, where we get a lot of wildfires. We already had some really bad ones back in January. All because of climate change, all because of people who, you gotta pay. The fact that anyone in our fucking government would cut funding for climate research or weather research or prediction or reporting is fucked up. Insert long pause. Well, the long pause just exists. Where am I? I'm so proud, she says to Phil. And then he says, thank you. And then he says to Rita, hello, welcome to our party. I love that he calls it our party. He is a part of this town now. He belongs here. And it is nice that the universe, the time loop, is allowing the people of Punxsutawney to also dance the Pennsylvania polka along with Phil. In that they accept him, they've embraced him. Nancy knows who Phil Connors is and knew he was already in the party. These people are enjoying dancing to this guy who's not even from their town. But maybe a bunch of them recognize him from this morning because he was the reporter who did the extra long report that everyone got quiet for. And so even the crowd remembers him. And they embrace the fact that Mary got him this gig to be her, backup piano player. And when he goes up for the auction, it makes sense that they all want to buy him. So at some point today, we know for Aaron's, he went and saved, I guess I can talk more about this when we get to the auction, but quick list. He saved Joey from breaking his leg. He saved the 3 old ladies from having to change their tire. He saved Buster from choking and lit that woman's cigarette. Also today, he had to go to Mary's house for his final piano lesson. He had to at some point interact with Nancy Taylor. Maybe at the Tip Top, because he had to go to the Tip Top so Doris would also know who he is, because she is not at the prognostication. Which means he had to go to the Tip Top after the prognostication, or for lunch, or some point, to be there. Well, I guess he'd have to go for right after the prognostication so he could interact with Nancy, and interact with Doris, and interact with Debbie and Fred. I'm guessing he talked to them at the Tip Top also. At some point, he also had to procure those WrestleMania tickets. How do you procure those on short notice in a small town? You'd have to go, this is in 91, you gotta go to Tower Records or a Sam Goody or a Music Plus, go up to their counter, and they load up the Ticketmaster system, and they look up tickets, and you can purchase them, and they can print them. Or if there isn't a music store, and I don't think there is, because I'm pretty sure there isn't one in Woodstock, Illinois today, or there wasn't a decade ago, which means he just had to somehow figure out, in days or moments we didn't see, he figured out who in town has 2 tickets to WrestleMania, and he paid a lot of money to get them probably, because they're going to have to be able to replace those. They still want to go to WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is usually in March? So they got a little bit of time to get those tickets, but they do have to get new tickets. What else did he do today? Nothing? No, he fixed Felix's back. We didn't see that. I don't think they even filmed that. He also left a poem on Old Man Jedson O'Reilly's dead body for the EMTs to find. It's a deleted scene. You should look it up. I think it's called Cold Bricks Glow or something like that. If you go to my website, lemmingdrops.com, you can click on the YouTube link and it will take you to my channel, and then you could work backward and find those videos. Do I have a playlist for those? I think I do. There would be 2 Groundhog Day playlists, though, because there would be the one of videos and there would be the one that is just episodes of this show. So if you're on the one with the episodes of the podcast, click on the other playlist for Groundhog Day and you'll find those videos. You'll also find a clip of Debbie dancing. Dialogue. Rita, Phil, I didn't know you could play like that. And he replies, oh, I'm versatile. Which is funny because she called him versatile earlier. Then we get the two old ladies, not Felix's wife. This is Sarah and Barbara? Or is that the actress's name? I think that's the actress's name. One of the three old ladies is named like Barbara Grimes. And the woman in the back seat is named Sarah. I think it's the passenger, Felix's wife, who's named Gertie. But it might be this one who's the driver.
All right, let's do this one last time.
Felix's wife, Ruby, played by Lucina Paquette, was in the front passenger seat in the car. In the back seat was Anne Heekin as Sarah. She's the shorter one here. Barbara Ann Grimes played Gertie, the driver. She's the taller one here.
It's that nice young man from the motor club. They're going to keep interacting with him into next minute because that's the end of the minute. We're getting these interruptions, establishing some things we didn't see, and echoing some things we did, like Buster and his wife. By the way, in this minute, we see Buster and his wife dancing as well. And they're having a good time. Old Brian Doyle Murray and Brenda Pickleman. So your assignment for today is, what was my old thing that I used to end every episode with? My old thing. It was like 2 weeks ago for me. Go watch a movie. Unless you have a dance to go to, then go to the dance. But watch a movie. Watch a TV show. Read a book. Play some music. Play a game. Spend some time at a park. Spend some time with your kids or your significant other or your parents. Be around the people that you care about and care about the people you're around.
You knew you were going to say that.
This has been a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drops Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
What is wrong in the end which never comes? Or which comes again and again, lapping, like waves.
Since the Big Bang set everything in motion, everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is. Particles unfolding the way they're destined to.
How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, you know Groundhog Day is not a documentary.
Remember when Groundhog Day was just a movie?